pro tip.
Okay. Hi, everyone. In the next 40 minutes, I will be talking about Spring Boot. So my name is Eddu Melendez. Yeah. How many people here has been working with Spring Boot already? Okay. A lot of people. Yeah. Okay. So a little about me. As Andrew said, I am from Peru. I am an open source contributor in many of the Spring portfolio projects like Boot, LDAP, Security, and Session, and other Spring and other projects too. So my Twitter account is Eddu Melendez, my name and last name, my GitHub and my email. So stay in touch, please. When we talk about Spring, in our mind we have a lot of projects because we have a lot of projects because Spring provides a lot of abstraction for different approaches, like integration, batch, big data, Spring data projects for relational and non-relational databases, security, and Reactor programming is coming in the next versions, so we will have that too in Spring Boot 2. Okay. This is a live session call, so I will be explaining a lot of benefits from Spring Boot, and we can see Spring like in two eras: before Spring Boot and after Spring Boot. Before Spring Boot, we have to manage dependencies from Spring projects and dependencies from third-party dependencies. But with Spring Boot, we will have a lot of benefits. We will not manage the dependencies by ourselves, but I will explain later with examples. Okay, so it's demo time. Yeah, very fast. Okay. You can start with the Spring Boot from your terminal if you have the Spring CLI. So I have already installed it, so you can set Spring version, and I have the last version installed. So I have. Can you see the greeting.groovy file? I have a Groovy file which just exposes one REST controller, okay? And I can execute it from my terminal, just like this. Yep. So there are some people who are always in his terminal, so they can work from here. If you are working with Groovy, you can run your scripts like that. And here we have very quickly service exposed through the Spring Boot. Yeah. But this is from terminal. I am a guy who uses IDE, okay? And if you want to see all the projects that the Spring Boot have already integrated, you can go to start.spring.io. This should be your favorite site in the world, okay? And there are a lot of interesting things here because you can start your project using Maven or Gradle, which is one of the more famous build tools. There are also plugins for Ant, but you know, it's out of date. If you are from the Java world, there are a lot of languages here, so we can choose Java. Who uses Java? Kotlin? Okay. Groovy? Great. So it's up to you. There are different versions. The last one is the 1.5.3. And if you want to see what is coming, you can change the version to the last one, which is the Spring Boot 2 milestone 1. we have here some group and artifact ID, which is very common in build tools. And in this field, we can ask to Spring initializer what we want to use. For example, in my case, I will say I want Neo4j, okay? Web, and maybe security, okay? There are a lot of options, but there are some in which I hide them. Because, you know, for example, For example, the packaging. You can choose jar or you can choose war. And Josh Long said, make jar, not war. Yeah? There are also, the Java version is hidden because Java 8 is the last version, so we should use the last version always. So here I have another question. Who is using Java 8 already? 7? Java 7? Java 6? Oh, okay. I will not ask for the rest for other versions, okay? So if you know what you want to use, you can write it over here, or you can list all the projects. And as you can see, there are many of them, many integrations. Yeah, for web, for SQL, template engines, and even for cloud stuff. You can set generate project. Demo C. And the interesting thing here is that you can see here starters. And these starters, these starters are provided by Spring Boot itself. Behind these starters, there are a lot of dependencies which we don't have to manage by ourselves. The compatibility between Spring versions, Spring project versions. For example, if I said I want a web application because I have added the web starter, it's already coming with an embedded server. In this case, by default, is Tomcat. Yep. Okay, I will import it to my IDE. Okay, I will write. It has integration with the IDEs like Eclipse, IntelliJ, NetBeans. You can use the Spring Tool Suite too. So, okay. Chicago. Okay. Oh, I forgot to add another dependency, Lombok. Scope. Yeah. Can you see there? Or more bigger? Okay. Let me see. Okay? Yep. Okay. So, as we said, the first thing we should see here is the starter parent, because as we mentioned before, Spring Boot provides all the dependencies here. So we can see all the versions that we will manage. Yeah, but there are also, there is also the starters, which provide, for example, for Spring Data Neo4j, it will provide a Spring Boot starter by itself and the Spring Data Neo4j project and all the dependencies. So we will start writing some code here. Person. This is graph entity. Sorry, no, entity. We have a graph ID. Right. String username. Right. This person, and we will have friends because we are people and we have to be in relation with another people. Yeah. Here's relationship. Yeah. As you can see, all I am using Neo4j and all this stuff. Friends of. Direction. Yeah. Okay. I also have added the Lombok. I don't know if you know about this project. It allowed me to reduce the boilerplate code here. For example, I will set write the setter for me, write getters for me, and I will build another constructor with no arguments by default. But I will write one just for the demo purposes with username. Yeah. In the toString, I will modify to set the username plus following. Optional. It's Java 8, so no Lego is friends, or else empty list. Yep. String for each map person the username for each system. Oops. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's okay. Here we will have another method which allow me to add friends, which are public. Void add friends, person. If yes, friends. The first thing is to instantiate friends. New array list. And there's friends. Yeah. We have finished with that. Sorry for the delay here. And now we will have a repository because we are using the Spring Data project. Okay. So this is a person repository, and we will extend for Neo4j repository. We will say person is our entity, and our ID is long. We can also say here person, and we will use find person by username. Very cool, the support from the ID here. String username. Yeah. And we will have a bin in which we will load data from this bin. So load. Yeah. will use lambda here. Person repository. Yep. First of all, I will delete everything just in case. Person, I do, for example, new person, person, I will Josh, and I think Mark is also here. Person, Mark. Yep. I will write. Local variable. And sorry. Yeah. And now we will iterate and store it in the database. In this case, Neo4j. For each. Okay. And now we will say repository. We will find, for example, my name. Username. Eddu. Maybe replace it. I will add Josh as my friend, and also Mark. Yep. And now I will iterate by every account, and we list all the friends that we have. For example, people.string for each account. For each person. Find by user. Person.get user. Yep. Well, I have already my Neo4j server app. Yeah, you can see it here. So let's see if it's working right now. But first of all, I have to set up the credentials. So this is one of the benefits that Spring Boot also provides. We don't have to configure all the Neo4j beans to make this work. For example, I just have to say here data, Spring data username, which is Neo4j, and password, secret. They're very, very secret now. So let's run this and see if it works. And as you can see, I just put focus in my idea, in the thing that I want to build. I don't care here if how all the beans have been configured. Spring Boot already does that task for me. So nice logo. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I forgot to print. Print. Nice. Oh, we can see the database already. For example, oops. Oh, what's happening? Oh, sorry. Okay, as you can see in my logs, for example, here, Eddu is following Mark and Josh, and Josh is following Eddu, Mark is following Eddu too, because the relationship in Neo4j is undirected, so it's in both ways. Yeah. And we have not configured anything. Everything has been already supported by Spring Boot. So now, if we want to, for example, expose through the an API or a web page, we have to say, okay, Spring Boot, I want to add web support, starter web, and also I will add tiny leaf for that. And now we will import all the Spring MVC stuff and all the time leaf support for that. And we have a person controller, a request, just controller. Request mapping here, people. We will use the new annotations in Spring 4 that were added in Spring 4.3. Yep. For example, username, name, friends, public void. Oh, sorry. Username, and we will have the model. Friends, here model attribute person. We will add the repository here, person repository. And I don't know if you already are aware about this, but Spring Boot 4.3 will inject automatically to the repository, to the constructor, without use the auto-wired annotation. So just with that, we can do this. And here, I will cheat, because I am going to copy my resource. And if you are going to use HTML inside the Spring Boot project, you have to put it into the directory, into the templates resources. And it should be work. For example, if we check inside the Spring Boot starter web dependency, we can see that the Tomcat dependency is already there. So our boot application will start in a several container like Tomcat. Yeah, you can see here is Tomcat in the port 8080. Yeah, we don't have to use another container for that. For example, 8080, and the URL. It was people, for example, Eddu, friends, oh, template, username, permitted. Uh-oh. Oh, sorry. So we have to say thanks to the Spring Boot team, and because they are dealing with a lot of things that we should deal every day, right? That is the era that's after Spring Boot. So we just care about our business because we have an idea and we have to be more productive with that. So yeah, here we have. This is our page, and well, it's not very easy to read. So what if, for example, we add Spring Dev tools and scope optional, true. I will restart it. And what if we want to change and see our changes immediately in the web application? We can use Spring DevTools, which provide a reload, reload all our classes that we have changed, or even our HTML. For example, we have here, I will connect, and for example, friends. Yeah, and it automatically refresh. For example, if oh, sorry, I have to build it in IntelliJ. But if you are using Eclipse, when you are saving your file, this will refresh automatically. So what if we want to add security, or for example, if we want to add metrics? Spring Boot does that for us. The only thing we have to say again is, hey, Spring Boot, I want metrics from Actuator. This is a project which is right now inside the Spring Boot, but I think that is going to change in the future. So we will add it to our class path. We have to do other things here because Actuator in this new version requires security by default. Okay. So we will add security. Yeah. We will add the dependencies. We will restart again. Sorry for too many restarts. And by default, our Spring Boot application will be secure. Spring Boot will provide a password for us in the console. And the username by default is user. Okay, but we can change that, adding some configuration. Yeah. For example, here is the password. I will copy. Yeah. This asks me for my credentials, and here we are. Yeah. But now, what if we can change that? Because it's by default. So the only thing we should do is write a security config, a new configuration, order. Security properties order, yeah. And extends from web security configure, yeah, here, and I will add in memory with user, for example, admin password and root, And I will add another one just for actuator endpoints. Ops, for example, password ops, and the role actuator. In the last actuator, in the latest version of Spring Boot, the role by default to be to see the endpoints for an actuator is actuator. Okay, it's not admin anymore. So we will change that. Oh, okay. And we can, for example, here, I have added ops user, so we can tell the Spring Boot that we are going to use that user for the actuator endpoints. Yes, ops. And security name is ops. So we will change that. Our app will be, we can access to our app using admin, but to see the actuators, our metrics, we will use ops, the ops username. As you can see in the log, there are many new endpoints which have been added by Spring Boot, not by ourselves. Yep. So here, yeah, okay. For example, what if I want to know about the beans in my app? Yeah. We can see all the beans listed that have been configured by our app. See. We can also see all the mappings, our request mappings, configured by default and by us. So here should be the person, yeah, here it is, person controller. Yeah. We can also see all the loggers. If we are using one log, we can see here. Metrics. Yeah. For example, there are counters which we will increment by every request we made here. And also we have health checks. No? That's very important. Status and this space. And just during, meanwhile, I was setting the demo, I can see that there is no Neo4j health check. So maybe we can add something there. Yeah. We can also modify this data. It's very easy. For example, I will create a bin which exposes a health indicator. I will name it Neo4j health indicator. And we will use lambda here and health status. Build. And here we detail message. Example, Spring Boot love Neo4j. And now we will see the Neo4j property here in the JSON file. Yep. You can add it. It's here, it's up, and well, I know that you will put some logic here, but just for the demo, I have put a message, and by default it's up. So the integration is already there. Yep. So what if I want to add documentation to my endpoints. Yeah. I don't know if you are aware about the Spring REST Docs projects, which is very useful for documentation. You can add it to the project, and just writing tests and doing some configuration, you can document your APIs. But in Spring Boot, if you want to know more about the endpoints, the only thing you have to do is actuator docs. I explained before that adding the Spring Boot dev tools, you don't have to reboot the app every time. But I am rebooting right now because I have been adding new dependencies. So these dependencies have not been in the class path. That's the reason why I'm rebooting again and again. So there is a new endpoint right now, which is docs. Okay, and now if you don't know anything about Spring Boot Actuator, you can read all this stuff. For example, autoconfig, and you will read what is about this autoconfig endpoint, which I do not list it. Yeah, skip. Yeah. And you can see all this stuff, beans, which we already see, config props, which will print all the beans which have been configured with configuration properties annotation. A dump, environment properties, which show us all our environments from the system and from basically for our system, because I couldn't write one by myself. About health info, loggers, which we already see, mappings, our request mappings, metrics, trace, which are listing the last 100 requests, audit events, log file, and docs. Yep. And that's it. That's all I have to show you about the Spring Boot. I know I have been very fast, but I don't know if you have any question. Yep.
Is there a dependency called Spring Data REST? If I use it, I don't need to create a REST controller. It automatically.
Oh. Yeah, there is a. Okay, the question is if the dependency about the Spring Data REST is added, he doesn't. If the dependency is about the Spring Data REST is added, he don't have to write everything about that project, basically. For example, Spring Boot REST. Data REST. There is a starter for that project already, so everything is set up by Spring Boot by itself.
So I can delete, update, create, let's say, person
Yeah.
without having a method in the REST controller.
Oh, yes. Basically, if you add that dependency, you can, in your repository, you can write all the annotations that you need, and this will be exposed through the API. Okay. Yep. Yep.
Can we know the health of the independent services? This is going right now show the health of the application.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear.
So I want to know, like, if we can know from the health team,
Mm-hmm.
the dependent database, like Neo4j, that's not.
Oh, yeah. Okay, the question is if we can see the health status from the Neo4j database. Yeah. In this case, I choose Neo4j, but I realized that there is no Neo4j health indicator. But for example, if you are using if you are using a database like MySQL or Postgres, there is a data source already, data source health check already for Redis 2, I think. Yeah, but there is no one for Neo4j, so maybe we can send a pull request to the team and look if it can be added. Yeah. But there is for other no-relational databases. Just Neo4j is not the case right now. Yeah. Another question?
Suppose when using a OAuth 2 with active directory SQL, right? So do you need any specific changes for that?
Okay, the question is about the support from OAuth 2. So yeah, there is a, you can add it to the class path, the dependency from that project, and the project will configure that for you. So you can customize it, and I think that there is some properties in which you can use it. Spring, Spring, I don't remember right now. Yeah, I don't remember the keys you have to set up right now, so maybe we can check that later.
The class which you have written for the configuration, so is it required to have a configuration class, or we can have this property in a property file itself, like a username, password, and the roles you can write in a property file itself?
So sorry, couldn't catch.
Class, right? It's configuration, right?
Yeah.
You extended some web security,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
So the tracking class, can I have this property in the application property file, like these username, password, admins, role, all those stuff?
Okay. Yeah, but basically you can add it, but I don't remember right now how to set up the out. Yeah. Yes.
So with this like web security configured, actually are we overriding the Spring Boot's auto security, or like we are augmenting more to auto security? So if I write where like basically I'm switching off Spring Boot's auto configuration for security, or like basically adding more to auto security?
Okay. The question is if with adding this security config we are shutting down the auto configuration. Right. Yes. I have added the order here and said we will override the auto configuration by default, and by this one, yeah, like in memory. And in the logs, we will not see the password by default, which we showed before that, right? There is no configuration by default with this one, adding the security config.
But still, I saw the authenticator, the authenticator provider or authenticator manager are still supplied by Spring Boot.
Yeah. So just to recap, why Spring Boot? Because provide convention over configuration. We have not set up anything. We have been using the properties to provide, for example, the username and password for Neo4j. It provides dependency management. We don't have to be worried about the dependencies and the compatibility between different Spring projects and third-party dependencies. The Spring Boot team has been doing a great work with that. They worry about using the latest and greatest version from different third parties, and they fix it. Maybe some troubles that we don't care. It provides auto configuration, as we have seen. Everything has been auto configured by Spring Boot. It provides starter dependencies, which for us is very useful because we just said, Spring Boot, I want to use it Neo4j, I want to use it web, and I want to use it timely. Just that, and we have our app running. And it provides actuators too, which expose some endpoints about metrics, mappings, environment, and all that stuff that we have seen. Well, after that, I hope you can start building your beautiful applications. Okay? Thank you.